welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Sawyer Paddles and Oars Live. We are back once again. We took a little bit of time off at the end of July, but we're back with our live series and just trudging through some heat here in Southern Oregon. We were in the hundreds last week, but we've cooled down to the mid to upper 90s, so a little bit nicer weather. And today we're real fortunate. We're going to kick out here into August with Cameron from Cascade and Maravia, and we'll be talking about a few of their programs. And so before I kick it over to Cameron, I just want to remind everybody that this is live, so if you have any questions, please fire them off in the comments, and we'll make sure we get to those. We do have folks monitoring that as well. And without any further ado, I'll kick it over to Cam. Go ahead and introduce yourself there, Cam, and Maravia and Cascade for us.
All right, yeah, my name is Cameron Holt. I work for both Maravia and Cascade River Gear. We share the same warehouse here, and we've been in this physical location since 1985. Maravia actually started in 1972 and was under Gordon Holcomb, and it first started with, mitering the, DC-10 emergency sliders that came out, and they noticed that, hey, this kind of looks like a raft. And so him and his buddies, they started talking, and then eventually became Gordon Holcomb Industries at that point. And then in 74, 75, and then, that was kind of the point where Doug Timms and Mike McLeod, they had a lot of rafts that they needed to bring to get repaired. And they brought them down to California. It was out in California at that time. And at that point, they figured out that the company was for sale, and they purchased Maravia with some investors as well, and then brought it back to Boise. Ever since then, so that was kind of in 85 was when they transferred it. And then they had kind of a showroom floor for the boats for a while, which kind of sparked, the idea of like a retail store. And then, so the other thing that they had done was purchase Cascade Outfitters, which was in Springfield, Oregon. And that had merged into the same warehouse kind of in 1989, 88 era. So yeah, we've been at this location since 89, and with Cascade, but a little bit before that with Maravia. But it's great that we have it here locally in Boise, kind of one-stop shop with the manufacturing, as well as being able to supply all the river gear side of things as well. So I've been here for pretty much 5 years, about 6 summers, 5 years. And I was formerly the Cascade River Gear manager, the store manager, and now I'm transferred into more of a Maravia sales position as the national sales director. And that's just taken place this year, kind of in the middle of all this chaos. So it's been interesting, but it's been very good and busy. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit about me. Mm-hmm.
Well, excellent. Yeah, and both Maravia and Sawyer, we're both U.S. manufacturers, and we share that common thread. And also just like Maravia, Sawyer and you guys both are basically our ownership and our key sales force are avid river users. It's one of the things that Sawyer has always been known as a company that makes oars and paddles, but actually uses what we make. And I get that same feeling with Maravia as well, and how it's been in the Timms family there for so many years. And because of that, you actually have some really strong following in that greater Boise area as well, but also all over the country. And so we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the greater Maravia side of things, and then we'll kind of dovetail that into Cascade and kind of show how that goes. And then also some of the other projects that you guys work with, and make sure folks are kind of just aware of some of the things that you guys make for some other brands, as well as the one right here over my shoulder is very popularly known. But and then we're going to finish up with just a little bit of a shop tour. Cameron has been gracious enough to take us on a little tour. So when we'll finish up, we'll basically go out into their showroom and then into the manufacturing facility as well. So let's kind of start off with going into kind of some of the Maravia line. And I think Shushka has the Scout boat pulled up, but you can kind of take us into just kind of the Maravia boats and kind of
Sure.
what's the essence of a Maravia boat that people aren't maybe familiar with.
Yeah, definitely. So, Moravia has always, prided ourselves on being forefronts in, the innovation side. So we're always been, one of the biggest innovators in the industry as far as, from doing the first drop stitch floor, to doing the crazy graphics. Plaid was kind of the theme this year. We did tie-dye last year. So always trying to keep on top of, the new and keep everything exciting. And a lot of our models come from, like you said, time on the river and river use. And so that was kind of a spark for this year, was some of that. The Scout, the Prime, and the Torrent were all new 13-foot models. And that was kind of based off of some feedback that we've got from customers, but also just, using the boats and, rigging them up ourselves. And we kind of find things that we want to tweak over time. So the Scout that you're looking at here is a newer boat, which is essentially just the wider Spider in almost every way. It is very identical to the wider Spider, give or take, a half inch in the tube diameter and things. But the biggest difference is the Spider has always kind of been that elongated panel, which kind of squeezes at the end, similar to like the Air Puma series or something like that. It's kind of all squeezes, those last little panels at the end. Where this one, we wanted more gear capacity. That was the focus because, I like these little boats for doing low water middle fork trips or any kind of low water situation. You can definitely take all this gear with you and still stay light but have a little bit more capacity. And so that was kind of the focus with this one, as well as
right. And
kind of
is
hitting
there
that fishing niche as well. So it lends itself to be a good fishing boat as well.
And so as far as a small gear boat for low water, and also they're very, very popular for like a creek boat for R2 paddling as well. Is that kind of the same?
Yeah,
model for that.
Gonna be it will be a very good paddle boat for sure. Yeah, we're gonna take a company trip actually next week on Tuesday. We're taking the day off just to go have an employee day. So we're all gonna take boats out, and I'm looking forward to getting this one as a paddle crew and running that down the main Payette here. So yeah, it'll handle a lot like the Spider. Has a little bit bigger tube diameter, and then the diminishing tubes go to 16 instead of 14. So, but otherwise, I think it'll be very, similar performance. But the wider Spider will remain probably as the one of the top performing boats for running technical creeks and waterfalls and stuff like Robert Delgado's doing out there in Oregon.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's going to still remain kind of one of the more sought after boats. But I think more of the fishermen and more of the gear side of, hauling equipment, the Scout's going to be a better option for that.
Gotcha. And now I know that you guys have kind of the Dreamboat series. Explain kind of what to folks what the Dreamboat is and how's that come about, and
Sure.
And what elements does that bring to the boat?
Yeah, so okay, move the camera there a little. So yeah, with the Dreamboat concept, we are fortunate that we can do just about anything. So when we build our rafts, when we manufacture them, it all starts as gray fabric. So we weld it, put it together, just like any other manufacturer would on those kind of steps of the stage. But then we take that PVC boat and we spray it with the urethane application. So we encapsulate it with urethane, all this, there's no more seams that are exposed. It's all, encapsulated at that point. And when we do that, we get to add whatever pigment we need to the process. And so we can do just about any color you can think of. So some people just, their dream boat is, maybe a tan boat or, a pomegranate boat or periwinkle. It could be anything, you know, and so that is just mixing different pigments until we get, you know, the end color that the customer's seeking after. And then, but it also lends itself to be, you know, graphic heavy as well. So like the plaid this year, you know, was just a thought that we had wanted to more see if we could pull it off than anything. We had seen a lot of plaid around and it seems like it's coming back. And so we're like, hey, let's give it a try. And so we started with the boat itself as the, you know, main color as the body base. And then what also is unique about our boats is that we add texture so that urethane, if you don't treat it at all, it's going to be very slippery. And so we've always added a top texture to the top portion of the boat for paddling as well as walking on and off. And it's just a safety feature.
Right, right.
But that was the same process that we used to do the plaid in different stages. So we basically taped the boat off in doing the different stages of the texture there. So that was one way. And then the more common way is actually to do the graphic side of things. So if the customer wants to have, you know, you name it, if it's like we're working on a shark cat tubes for this guy right now. So it's going to be basically a big shark, or our first dream boat right there was kind of the day and nighttime theme. And so we did it with a combination of, you know, they're basically like stencils that we get from our sign company, and then we hand paint them on. And so it's all in that curing stage that it's going to cure into the boat. It is part of the boat. It would take, you know, literally you'd have to grind it off to ever remove it. Those logos are going to be on there forever, you know. So
right. So it's pretty much, it's permanently that is the boat color. That's what it's permanently going to be. And so if I understand you correctly, you pretty much the way that the coating is, that can be pretty much on any model in your line, right? So you can actually you can pretty much, and because like I remember early on earlier this spring, you had a customer that actually had picked out a specific color. It was kind of an aqua blue color, and then you had Recrotech actually match the frame color and powder coating.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember I got this box from Angela. It was like basically a piece of the frame, and it was like, so I took that to the guys in the shop, and I was like, here, just match this color. And so that customer there went all out, where they basically matched the color of the boat with the color of the frame with the color of the oars. And that just kind of encapsulates what amount of customization you guys can really do.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a fun process. And we do have a lot of people that, you know, want to keep their things, you know, if they're going to spend that amount of money, they would rather have it be more personable to them and something that, you know, is a fun color theme throughout the whole entire boat, whether, you know, it comes down to the straps, the oars, the pads on the cooler or dry boxes, or your chicken line around the boat, you know, everything kind of matches. Don't have to get that elaborate by any means, but a lot of people do want to kind of delve into that. And so we're seeing more and more people wanting to go custom and getting something, because it's going to last them, you know, 30 plus years anyway. So you might as well get something that you're happy with from the beginning.
And then that's also a benefit that a company like Maravia and like us at Sawyer, that we can offer to a customer, because we're manufacturing our boats ourselves. You know, you're in that manufacturing hub there in Boise, which is pretty amazing how you have the air guys right across town. And to have you guys and Air both coming out of Boise is really pretty amazing. But you know, that person that lives in Boise really has they're probably pretty spoiled, because they basically have that ability to you know, Air totally has a different process. But the fact that, you know, when that person is ready to make that decision and they're going to make that boat purchase, that really sets you guys off aside when they can actually customize their colors and customize some print in there, and really getting a one-of-a-kind boat. You know, I mean, that not only does it, you know, kind of makes it stand out, and it's very personalized, but also for just a security standpoint, when you got a one-of-a-kind boat, it's pretty obvious if somebody,
Oh, yeah.
takes your boat out of your out of your driveway.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would be truly one of a kind at that point. Mhm.
Yeah. And let's just diverse a little bit into the Cascade line because
Sure.
as
I
I
have
mentioned,
a,
you do.
pardon
Oh, go
me,
ahead.
Royce. I have a quick question from Facebook. They're asking, which countries do you sell your rafts?
So we primarily sell them mostly to Canada, and then we have a few down in South America, and we're kind of working on reaching out to different countries too. But it's just all based off of what people want, and we have customers that approach us from New Zealand or Switzerland or Norway, just to name a few, but the logistics of getting the boat there and to them is a pretty complicated process that does take time. And so we've been able to look into those options, and we can get them their boat. It's just there's more hoops to jump through, and but yeah, it's definitely the possibilities are there, and we sell them worldwide, but the shipping part gets a little tricky though.
Yeah, it's much easier to do if they want 20 to 50 of them rather than one.
Yes. Yeah. At that point, it's kind of you better make it worthwhile and get a few boats
Right.
instead of one.
Best to fill the container.
Sure. Exactly.
Right. All right. Thank you, Shishka. Definitely, that's part of our live function. Chime in with any questions that we haven't addressed, and Shishka will definitely let us know. So where I was kind of going with the Cascade model, which when I've been there several times and been to some of the events with you guys, and the interesting thing is that you literally have everything under one roof, where you have your manufacturing, but the Cascade element, you have the entire price structure, right? So Maravia is like your top end package, but you have everything all the way down the line. And talk a little bit about that, because I found that really, really interesting how you had the Rocky Mountains and the NRS and the tributaries, and I believe you guys had some airboats as well, and then the Maravias as well. So talk a little bit about just that whole lineup.
Definitely. Yeah. A lot of people find it interesting that we do sell other brands, but the reason behind that is, yes, we do sell the Maravias here and we manufacture them, but we realize that's just a portion of the market. There's going to be a lot of people that want to get in the sport, but they're not going to, you don't go out and buy a $10,000, motorcycle if you've never been motorcycling or whatever the sport is.
Right.
It's very uncommon that you just jump in, dive right into it and purchase all of it. So we want to cover the whole spectrum as far as, different price tiers and different ranges. So we do carry, tributary and Rocky Mountain rafts that are made overseas, and, they'll have the lower price point. And so they're really good for getting people, into the sport that want to, dabble into it, try it on the Boise River, jump on the Payette. And then over time, we see that those people, just get more fond of it. They may sell it and upgrade into something else, or, whatever. They might just keep that and purchase a new boat. But the idea is really to cover more the demographics and different types, because there's Hypalon, there's PVC. So, we carry the NRS as well, and high side, air, tributary, and Rocky Mountain raft. So those are kind of all the five that we carry, as well as the Maravia.
Right. Yeah, and besides the raft packages, you guys are you are a full service shop, which people will see that once we get out on the tour. But definitely, Cascade is a full service shop, and almost like I noticed that Cascade really, you, as much as you do cater to the day tripper, but you really cater to the multi-day, rafter, where it seems like you guys obviously have several great multi-days right in your neck of the woods, but it definitely seems like you guys really do cater to that multi-day crowd. And
Definitely.
that's a person, as they get more and more into it, they would definitely look at upgrading their boat. Maybe they start with something a little smaller when they're day tripping, but then when they realize that they want to carry a lot of gear, then
yeah, and that's probably the biggest thing that we've seen this summer with COVID-19 going on, is that a lot of people have had vacation plans that they've dropped, and they're looking to recreate more locally, and so they're wanting to get into the rafting, get into the camping gear side of things, and do those multi-day trips so that they can take their families out and enjoy time on the river and still be socially distant and all that. So that's been I think a big factor why we've had some of the busiest summer months we've ever seen. So that is definitely the side that I'm more always intrigued with. And we are lucky. We have the Middle Fork of the salmon, the Maine salmon,
right.
Selway really close, and the Bruno, Waihi. And so there's so much that you can just go jump on a river, and if you're lucky to get the permit side of things too. But that's kind of my preferred style of boating, is to take as much gear as you can and get your best group of friends together and just go out for a week and cover 100 miles of water. And that's where a lot of those products come from. From the Cascade side, I've had a big influence with rigging the boats and like seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then being kind of the invention side and designing some of the own products that are now some of the more popular ones we sell. So it's been fun to see that kind of come full circle, and from doodling it on a scratch piece of paper to having whitewater designs,
the cocktail napkin concept.
Yeah, so it's very fun.
Bring it to life out of a cocktail napkin. That really says something. But and that's another thing about U.S. manufacturing. There's definitely something to the fact when you can actually think of a concept, put it down on paper, and then actually build it and have the actual prototype, and then go out and try it out and kind of go, oh, well, this worked, but that didn't work, and we want to change that and change that, and go back and and you do that process of 3 or 4 times, and then you come out with a product is like, you're like, yeah, this is exactly how we thought it was going to be, and now we're able to build it.
Sure. Yeah. And we see kind of different phases of kind of like, 1.0, 2.0, and eventually we get those products dialed in from, customer reviews and getting feedback. And we do want to supply the, best quality river gear out there. And so that is our focus. And so we do really love when our customers give us feedback, whether it's good or bad. It helps get that product to be better than it was before. So we do appreciate that.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's like if somebody has some feedback that's tough to hear, a lot of times if you can kind of take that into bear and actually, just listen to their concern and actually be able to help them out with it and deal with it, that customer becomes a patron for life. They're basically, once you can take care of them and help them out, get through a rough spot, and some of your best customers ended up as a initial bad experience, but they were able to you're able to bring them around, and I'm sure that goes with boats as well. There's so many variables that I'm sure there's some colors that weren't exactly how they intended to come out initially.
That can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of moving along with kind of the Dreamboat concept. You guys obviously build all the boats for Stream Tech, which is the boat right here over my shoulder. And you guys, with that whole Dreamboat concept, have really kind of embraced what Link is doing with his boats. And let's talk a little bit about, I think Shishka can pull up a steelhead boat that Link did, and just talk a little bit about this process.
Yeah, so Zach, Link very well. Link Jackson is a great artist, as well as a diehard fly fisherman, and so he has always been doing different water color paintings and painting in general. And so when he got that idea in his head. He's like, hey, I can start, doing some of this fish art. And so he made his little color wheel palette and started mixing colors together. And it kind of took him a while to figure out, with this type of urethane and pigment process, he's got to work in a different manner than normal. He doesn't have a lot of time. It is kind of time sensitive that it all happens in this, curing window. So we kind of let him know, hey, the boat's going to be ready this day. He'll show up early in the morning, get his colors mixed up and ready to go. And then he'll draw kind of like a outline more or less. And, he'll come in with a sketch that he's already done kind of in his head and mocked up on paper. And then he'll create it, make it happen. And so he's been doing quite a few of the fish art boats now. And it's been so popular actually that he's created, I think, 2 or more for himself, and he's already sold them before he had a chance to get it on the water and use it. So
yeah, I think last time I talked to him,
yeah, they're really loving what he's been doing, and he's been doing a lot of different style of fishes. So we've seen steelhead and cutthroat and brook trout and brown trout, and so it's been really a fun process, and every time they come out amazing. So he really does knock it out of the park.
Yeah, and that's something that's really pretty amazing, where the fact that it is time sensitive, and I don't think a lot of people understand the fact that while he's painting that, it's curing. So it's like, you not only does he have to have the game plan in his head, but he has to keep moving, because it's like you can't stop. It's not like, okay, let's just take a break. It's like you have to keep it all going, right? Because like a lot of those colors that run the full length of the boat, you've got to do that whole color from start to finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we timed you out there, Cam. Well, we'll let Cam see if he can get back to us on the camera there. Hey, you're back.
There we go. Sorry about that. The phone died, of course. So
of course,
keeping an eye on that, and it eventually just went out. So I'm back in it.
Are you so now are you tethered in? So we can't actually go.
It might be a challenge to go show you guys around. I should have planned ahead on that, but if it charges up enough, we might have a chance to go out there, but we'll do our best.
All right. Well, we touched on the 10-barrel raffle and the Capture the Rapture.
Okay, great.
But give us maybe just your capsulation of the 10-barrel event, like when it finishes up, and is it are you raffling off that boat that's out on tour, or is it actually that's a boat that's out on tour and then they're going to there's a new boat that they're raffling, or how does that all work?
Sure. So we are raffling the boat off, and so the boat that you're seeing on the website, the Scout with the water splashes on the side, that is going to be the boat. So it actually will technically be a used boat that they're getting as the raffle prize, but it's still an incredible raffle prize. And so we have worked with 10-barrel on creating this new beer, actually. And so this is it right here. It's called River Beer. It's an IPA, and we did a collaboration with them. And it's actually Angela's husband, Mike Sherman, who has a big influence on this. He's down at 10-barrel a lot. And, he had created this essentially and developed, it basically was his brainchild, and we were making it happen. So we now have a Maravia River Beer. A lot of the proceeds are going to Idaho Rivers United to keep our rivers clean and healthy. And we're very fortunate to be working with them right now on this fun project and raffle. And so, you can go on our website. You can buy a raffle ticket for $10 to get entered. You can buy as many raffle tickets as you want. Just will increase your odds. And we're going to be announcing the winner on September 30th. So have about a couple months to, still make those raffle
Right.
tickets and buy those up. And, in the meantime, the other thing we're kind of doing is you can only buy this river beer, though, at 10 Barrels downtown location in Boise. You can buy the raffle tickets from Cascade River Gear, McHugh Sports in Boise, and 10 Barrel as well. And so, like I said, it's just $10. The beer, if you want to buy the beer, you have to go down to their downtown place, and we sell it in a 4-pack, and they're a pint size, and it's good. I had it on the river on the South Fork, Boise, and enjoyed it.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it's refreshing as well. So yeah, and liking the whole process and the turnout and way it came out and everything.
Perfect. Perfect. And tell us a little bit about the Capture the Rapture contest that you'll have going on.
Sure. And so Capture the Rapture, this will be, I believe, our 4th year doing it, and it's going to start in about 60 days. So it launches on October 4th, and it's basically a contest, a photo contest for anybody to apply. So it could be, anybody with a camera, is, professional or amateur or whatever. And so we want to see your best photos from the river. So start thinking about it now. If you got some river trips that you're planning on doing here in the next month or two, definitely get those photos. Keep that in mind. You might win yourself the prize. The grand prize is a pretty hard to beat. It's a $10,000 package, which applies to basically you get $7,000 to put towards your dream boat of your choice, and then you have about $3,000 in the gear side of things to outfit it with. And so the runner-up, the second place prize is normally it's like kind of a cash prize as well, and then the third place is also a cash prize, which is basically like a gift certificate they get to use in our store that doesn't expire. They can use it whenever they want. And so
Shopping's
very
free.
easy to
Always
submit.
popular.
And we did shrink our window. It was 4 weeks long in the first couple of years that we had done this contest, but we've minimized it down to only a couple weeks, so that it seems like it's been working better. It gives people less time to submit photos, but the quality we're getting is better. And so we've kind of,
Gotcha.
that's been the only change that we've really had for Capture the Rapture. But it's a very fun contest. We love seeing everybody's photos, and it's really a pleasure to see different people in the catalog, and then them sharing it with their friends and family. And you might have a catalog come to your doorstep, and you might be in the photo. So it's a very fun way to get people talking, and very different way of doing a contest. And it's been very successful for us. And we just, again, we love our customer photos, and hearing their
Excellent.
stories and things along with the pictures too. It's been a really
Right.
amazing to do this.
Well, excellent. Let's go. All right. Well, I think we are going to wrap up here. I think Cameron has froze up. He's run out of juice, but I want to thank everybody for showing up and checking it out. And if you do get a chance, check out Cascade at cascaderivergear.com and maravia.com or paddlesandoars.com. And thank everybody for coming, and we'll see you on the river.